stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise, I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Sorry I'm not seeing my face today. I'm a little sick today. I'm under the weather. So I'm going through like a little flare up and a little little mood changes with what I have. As some of y'all know, I have MS and fibromyalgia. So I'm not feeling a little too good today. So I just want to do like a little video in case anyone have MS or know someone with MS and don't know how to like deal with it, or don't really understand why some people are the way they are, like with the attitudes and the frustration and the depression and anxiety. So please watch the full video. Sorry, please watch the full video, guys, and let's see what goes on. See how this is exactly how I'm feeling. See, can I understand? Because I'm still like, I think 3-4 years in. So let me see. Let's go.
I had saw a doctor that said there's nothing wrong with you. It's all in your head. The headaches that I'm getting, the pain that I'm getting, the balance issues, it was all in my head. I was diagnosed June of 16. So now it's a name to something that's going on. I was looking to get back to work and thinking that getting on medication would help me and life would get back to normal, which didn't happen at all.
Many of my symptoms were visible, but then I also had invisible symptoms. The invisible symptoms were more so in terms of my emotional well-being as well as the pain that I was feeling.
MS is not just a disease of strength and balance and vision, it's also a disease of intellect and of mood. Someone who's depressed might also put a mask over their feelings and not divulge how they're feeling. Patients feel uncomfortable admitting at times to mental distress or depression. They're worried about a label that might be attached, and that becomes a very significant barrier to the detection of the symptoms and also for the treatment. Depression is sadness, but it can also be irritability. And sometimes you get a combination of the two. So a loved one starts noticing a change in the person.
That's how I'm feeling like a little there today. A little irritable and a little sad today.
Behavior, they become a bit more short-tempered or a bit snappy. They do things that are out of keeping with their usual character. You might be sleeping badly, your appetite changes, you can lose your sexual drive. If depression becomes more severe, you have thoughts of self-harm. So you're really looking at...
Well, that's the only thing. I haven't had thoughts of self-harm, right? I don't want to hurt myself at all or other people at all. But I definitely have sleep disturbances. My appetite definitely changes. This was why my weight goes up and down. I did have lack of sexual drive. Yeah, I didn't even want my husband to be. I didn't want to do anything. And so I still get like that, so I don't want to do like anything and ever get frustrated. But my body just won't let me get in that mood.
Had a syndrome that is very significant, that can determine all aspects of a person's life.
I started fighting with my husband without no reason. Last year was really bad. I would get really upset when it was 4 o'clock in the winter and it was dark and I was alone, and he would come up home and I would just explode without no reason. We were having really bad fights until I had to tell him, I think this is what's going on and I can't control it and this is not going right.
Depression, has a wide-ranging effect on the person with MS. It has been found to affect quality of life in family members as well as the person with MS. It is associated with poor performance at work. It's also associated with not wanting to take one's disease-modifying medicines, because when one is severely depressed, one just doesn't care anymore. We know that it is highly likely that some of the mood disorders, particularly depression, are caused by living with an unpredictable disorder that can exacerbate, remit, progress, and There is a great deal of uncertainty that the person with MS has to adjust to in living with this disease.
I used to be very good at multitasking. Take as many problems and load them onto me, and I'll prioritize them and task them and solve it. And this disease has changed a lot of that capability of control and emotions to just do a lot of that. For instance, it could frustrate me in the morning when I'm trying to get my kids ready for school. The dogs run around the house, maybe barking, want to go outside. The kids aren't listening. I'm trying to do a lot of things at once, and it frustrates me.
Right, and it's not like we can, control it. Like I tried, to control it, but this illness takes a big impact on your family. You get frustrated, and one day you okay, next day you're frustrated, and your family, especially your kids, it's looking like what's going on, what happened. So what I do is I talk to my kids. Talk to my kids and tell them, they know what I have, and I'm going to be like this some days. So give me a couple minutes to myself, unless it's an emergency to come, in a room and talk to them or whatever. Give me like a little bit I can hear, especially when they dad here. I can I tells them that, go to daddy, tell them you need anything because I feels, it be built up and then it be like frustrated. It be the smallest thing. And I get frustrated at times. And do I like it? No. I even cries at times. I don't like it at all. But it's part of what comes with the symptoms.
I feel like his fuse is just a little shorter. Sometimes something will just set him off and he's quick to get angry, but then he's been better at recognizing it. And I think part of it was we had a conversation just being honest with him and saying, like, do you recognize that you're kind of being very snippy, or, that you're irritable, like what's going on? And then doing research and then showing him like this is something normal that people with MS can go through.
Since depression seems to occur more highly in MS than in other neurological disorders, it is likely that there are characteristics of the disease itself that also contribute to causing mood disorders in MS. There are several hypotheses about this. Mood disorders such as depression have been correlated with changes on MRI of the brain in certain areas of the brain, particularly the temporal lobe of the brain. In addition, inflammatory events can also trigger depression in persons with MS. So there may be aspects of the disease itself that also contribute a great deal to the prevalence of these disorders. It was thought earlier on that the interferons could precipitate and cause depressive episodes in MS. Subsequent research has not found that clearly is taking place.
As my symptoms started to change, it made me wonder in terms of what my journey of MS is going to be like. So in the beginning, when I had mobility issues, immediately I was thinking, okay, will I ever be able to walk again? Will I ever be able to go to work again? Things like that. And it made me start thinking about what's my future's going to be like.
Right, because when I first was diagnosed with it, and I thought, because some people end up in a wheelchair fast. Some people go blind. Some people can't, move. So when I first was diagnosed, I was thinking the only person I knew of at that time that had MS was Montel Williams. So I didn't really know about like MS. I just know he had it. That's the only time I heard. So when I had it, I was just like, so then I started reading more about it, looking at more people about it. But I just keep praying and hope everything is okay. I can still I would keep going because that quick, y'all, I forgot what I was going to say, and that's another problem in MS. I forgot what I was going to say. So let's get on to the video, y'all.
And I call it being in a particular place. And I found myself creeping into that place. And one day it was just a matter of I can't come out. I can't go out because just things are difficult. And then it became I don't want to go out. And one day became many days, became many weeks of just not wanting to go out.
Another disorder of mood that occurs in multiple sclerosis are anxiety disorders. We do have a number of research studies that have demonstrated that clinically significant levels of anxiety, that is, a level of anxiety that will kind of cause the person a great deal of distress and impair their functioning, is highly prevalent in MS. And I guess it's no surprise that MS could precipitate anxiety. It's an uncertain, unpredictable disease, and the person has to deal with things that they've never had to deal with before.
I'm not someone that I feel has a lot of anxiety or ever felt like I had a lot of stress, but yet my body has so much anxiety at times. I feel like I'm missing something, something's going on, or forgetting something. And your whole body is just, it feels like it's moving inside very fast. It's a lot of anxiety.
If a person with MS is anxious and feels kind of very upset and is ruminating over and over again about things that could go wrong in their heads or have gone wrong, they're probably experiencing clinically elevated levels of anxiety and should talk to their healthcare provider about it. Multiple sclerosis is associated with an increased risk for bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is a type of depression that is associated with manic episodes or mania, which is a hyperactive state in which one can't think clearly and one thinks very, very quickly, and one gets impulsive and uses bad judgment.
One of the other behavioral changes that you can see in multiple sclerosis is pseudobulbar affect, and this refers to patients who cry when they don't feel sad, or they laugh.
I never heard of that. Involuntary episodes of laughing or crying. Yes, that's what they call
when they don't feel happy, or you can have a mixture of the two. And the important point is that it's involuntary. Evidence suggests that this might affect up to 10% of MS patients to varying degrees of severity. It appears to be more closely associated with progressive forms of multiple sclerosis. The good news about pseudobulbar affect is that it does respond very well to treatment.
It's very important for persons with MS to get treated for changes in mood, severe changes in mood, because severe changes in mood, such as a major depression, will affect their functioning. The good news about depression in MS, though, is that we know that it can be treated successfully.
When my doctor said the D word, depression, being a support leader, I could see it in everybody else. I didn't even see it in me.
While there are clear benefits to support groups, support by itself is not going to be able to successfully treat someone with a major depressive disorder. Then you really have to look to the medication or the cognitive behavior therapy. And then, of course, you can bring in support in addition to that.
When my doctor first talked about the idea of medication, I'll be honest, I was a little bit resistant. My doctor gave me something, as she put it, just to take the edge off. And it worked. It wasn't one of those things where it worked just
right. Like, I didn't want to take medication either, y'all. But the medication I take, I really need it, especially my depression medicine. I really need my depression medicine. It's a messed up thing, but yeah.
just like that. No, it wasn't a quick fix. But I noticed that in time, in days, a couple of days, I would say, I didn't want to stay in bed as long. I wanted to go out, maybe take a walk. Things that I like to do, I wanted to do again. Wanted to hang out with my friends again. And then it got to a place where you couldn't keep me in the house. All I wanted to do was be out in the world again.
There have been a number of treatment studies to date that have demonstrated.
Well, I'll be glad when I get there because I haven't gotten there yet. Like, I have to, like, it will just come out this spur of the moment. Then I'll be like, okay, like, I can feel when it's time for me to get out the house, So when I get that feeling, because I always been a home person, I always been a stay-at-home person, never really went out like that. Like, I always been like that. Um, so it don't really bother, but at the time it does because I do want to go places. Then, like when I went on the trip, like 2 years ago on a cruise trip, my MS flared up, cried, I got sick, I was hurting, Had to go back to my hotel room with my husband. It was just, but it is what it is. I have a great support system.
Demonstrated that pharmacotherapy, antidepressant therapy, and psychotherapy has been found to be effective in ameliorating the symptoms of depression and MS. There has been one randomized clinical trial that treated both depression and anxiety in MS and found through a type of psychotherapy called cognitive behavioral psychotherapy that anxiety can be very well treated in persons with multiple sclerosis.
There's been times I noticed that physically he hasn't been feeling as great and getting a little stressed at times. And I said, well, you haven't been to yoga. Maybe you need to get back into that.
There was a recent study that was published in Multiple Sclerosis Journal looking at exercise in patients with secondary progressive MS. And one of the secondary outcome measures was depression. And they in fact found that exercise did not only increase an individual's physical functioning, it had additional benefits with respect to mood and cognition as well.
We decided to adopt a dog, which has been a lot of help in various sense, in the sense that, I have company. I don't feel that alone. I don't feel that depressed. Bonbon is a rescue, but he rescued me. He really helped me a lot to control myself. He's all love, so he only wants to give you love and he wants to receive love. So in that sense, it really calms you down. The other good thing about the dog is that he had made me move again because he makes me get up. To feed him. He makes me get up to get him.
And this is what I say about my kids. If it wasn't for my four beautiful kids, y'all, I think I would never get out the bed. Like, I don't even know what would happen if I was going through this and then have, like, my kids. Not saying my husband stuff too, but your kids pushes you more. You look at them and you just know you gotta keep going. For them. You gotta keep going, gotta keep pushing stuff. So I have been doing a lot better. I got up yesterday, me and my daughter, we worked out. Because kids look at everything you do also. Even though they know what I have, I don't always want them to think that if you get something or get sick that don't let that get you down. Like, keep pushing, keep going. And so I have been started back exercising because I have gained weight, y'all. And my weight goes up and down because I'm sick. And sometimes I be in so much pain I can't get up, so I have to stay in the bed. And then on top of that, when you're eating and you can't really go, so I'm eating in the bed and then not moving, so that's getting Pam's on. So at that point, when I feel like, you sit up, when I sat up and I felt like, and then went back down, I said, oh no, I ain't even pregnant. I can't even sit on the bed. I'm out of breath. So, yeah, I am back on my diet. Yeah.
Him out, to the yard.
I think it's sad that my family had to see some of those things and anger that I've portrayed at times. Now that I know it's a disease and I have a little more recognition of how I'm acting, honestly, I think the relationship with my wife has gotten much stronger.
Someone will say to me, well, like, how's he doing today? And they just want you to say, oh, he's fine. But they don't realize that he's always going through something. But he's recognized that he just has to take time to take breaks. And if he's feeling stressed or the kids are upsetting him, he's learned just to take a step back and be like, okay, I just need to take a couple minutes. So I think it has helped just him recognize that sometimes he just needs his space.
I'm capable of doing a lot of things still. I can be a dad to my kids, be a husband to my wife, and actually be here. I worked hard for a period of time, and I wish I could work until I die because I loved what I do, but
I wish I could work because I had some plans, yo. Like, I was working since I was 6, probably 14 when I had summer jobs. I've been working. And when it came to the point that I had to stop working and became in the system as disabled, yeah, but I am at home and I on work. I'm doing multiple things now because it does not stop me. Like I said, I'm started a YouTube. I'm ready to start my clothing thing for my brand, my Keep It Cute Not Messy brand. Going to have some merch coming out, y'all. So it ain't going to stop me. I'm gonna keep going. I just gotta take a little pace and not do too much at one time, and I'll be all right.
Now that I can't, I could refocus my passion on my family. They definitely give me a lot of excitement, something to look forward to in the time that I have and that I get to spend with them now that I'm home. It's awesome.
Alright guys, so hope y'all watched the full video. And if you think you have these symptoms or even someone you know, go get checked. And if you do know someone that's going through, like depression and stuff, or MS or whatever, try to understand them or even read up about it, about why they, agitated so quick or angry so quick, or someone could say something to get really, agitated, because I shuts down. Okay. I'm at the point now that I just want to be around my husband and my kids. That's all. I just want to be around my husband and my kids. But you have to understand when a person has MS or whatever, there's a lot that comes with that. So when you add on stress onto that person, or add on certain things that you say to that person, it could, it could trigger them. So just be mindful of that. But I'll be all right. I keep praying that man above keep looking over me, and I'm gonna be good and straight. All right, y'all. So that is in the video. I just wanted to put this video out there so maybe some more people could have a little more understanding about MS, and in the moves that we go through as MS, having multiple sclerosis. So guys, please check out my other content, my other videos, and like I always say, if you are feeling my vibe, please do not forget to like and subscribe. And until the next video, y'all. Bye.
Never stop, forget it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something